This is Wild About Utah.
For many of us who love the outdoors, the first half of March is a least favorite time of year. It's a drizzly season. In northern Utah's urban valleys, the lingering patches of snow are tinged with dirty gray that mirrors the dingy sky. Winter has lost its cleansing power, yet the budburst and first blooms of springtime are still weeks away. But if we close our eyes and listen, nature can still brighten the dingy days. A week or so ago, my wife and I stopped by a wetland we like near the Great Salt Lake. It had snowed the day before, and the marsh was half frozen. The remaining open water was packed with wintering waterfowl, pintails and coots and gadwalls and geese. We rolled down the car window to listen, and were greeted by the glorious cacophony of red-winged blackbirds. You might hear the complex warbling of a house finch, or the sweet piping hee-did-it of the black-capped chickadee. But to me, nothing says springtime like a blackbird's song in an awakening marsh. It's not a pretty sound, but it's boisterous and exuberant. It embodies the joy of springtime. But why now? Why not wait till things warm up a bit? And how do they know, when the nights can still be frigid and the days can still be dreary, that it's time to gear up for spring? The answer has nothing to do with temperature or precipitation. It's a trick of the light, or more specifically, the length of the day. For birds, that's the most reliable calendar. When the time between sunrise and sunset reaches a certain number of minutes, photoreceptors in the avian brain trigger the production of hormones. That stimulates their sexual organs, telling the male blackbirds it's time to get feisty. They begin to stake out nesting territories, singing their superiority to brothers and cousins. By the time the females arrive a few weeks later, they've sorted things out and are ready to mate and raise babies. Unfortunately, not everything in nature uses day length as an alarm clock. Plants and insects respond better to temperature. As the world's climate changes, tree leaves emerge earlier, and so do the creatures that love to eat those tender spring shoots. The downside of change is exemplified by the plight of the European pied flycatcher. These birds spend the winter in Africa, flying north when day length triggers the urge to migrate. For centuries they'd arrived just as caterpillars were emerging to feed on new foliage, a perfect source of protein to feed their hatchlings. But since day length hasn't changed while the climate has, now the flycatcher's timing is off. Food is scarcer. Fewer nestlings survive. Scientists have a name for this: phenological mismatch. We're seeing more and more examples in nature where the timing of life events is off. It's likely that a few species will adapt. Birds that get antsy early, jumping the gun on migration, will be favored by natural selection. But evolution takes time, and many species will suffer. In the meantime, we can take heart in knowing that we can still count on songbirds to brighten this dreariest of seasons. I'm Mark Brunson, and I'm wild about the sounds of Utah nature.